Okay. Hi, my name is Carla. I am from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan to be exact. And I am coming to you live today because I failed my esthetician exam twice. Not once, but twice. But the good thing is I passed. So there is lights at the end of the tunnel. There is a rainbow at the end of the storm. So I'm coming here to you today because when I looked on YouTube, I could not find anyone from the state of Michigan that understood my pain. Okay. I went online, I saw all these different states, and nothing can relate to what I was going through. Just a little bit of background information. I started school in June 2018. Okay, I graduated in May 2019. I'm a single mother of 3. I quit my day job, worked a midnight shift, and I went to school. I did this for 9 months, 9 whole months, all while taking clientele to learn my basics, all while doing side jobs, everything like that. I did not take my first exam until September 2019. Now, follow me. When I first took my exam, I thought it was a great idea to only study Quizlet. I'm not going to give you guys any lies in this video. I'm going to keep it really raw and really straight to the point. I did not study my book at all. This book right here is your Bible, your esthetician Bible. That's what we're going to call this, your esthetician Bible. When I first took my exam, I only went off of Quizlet. And when I went off of Quizlet, I did not do all 300 and I believe it's 392 that you can use for Quizlet. I only used 20 because I didn't know that you can change it. So when I first went into my exam, I sat down, I was confident, and boom. When they called me for my results, my first result said didn't pass. I was so embarrassed, okay? Because I said all my other friends used Quizlet. Why did they pass their exam and I didn't? Guess what I never did? I never read my esthetician Bible. This book right here is going to help you pass this exam. It's a thick book, but guess what? I'm going to show you what you need to study. The good thing about the state of Michigan is it only requires us to have 120 questions. So with the 120 questions that's on the exam, the state bulletin board breaks down everything for you. So it's not all foreign. So when you go register to take your exam, you're going to get something called the candidate PSI. So with the candidate PSI, it does break down each portion that you need to study. This is critical, okay? The book, your Quizlet set on 300, and I think the max is 392. This outline, your book, Quizlet, and the Esthetician Exam Center is going to help you get past this exam, and plus I'm going to help you too. So when you sign up for your test, your instructor or your school should give you this outline. Even if they don't give it to you, PSI is going to give it to you. That's the testing center. So I'm going to tell you about that as well. But the good thing about this, it breaks down every percentage that you need to pass the exam. It gives you everything that you need. So you don't have to go through this whole entire book learning things that you don't need to know. Because all we want to focus on is give you your exam so that way you can definitely fulfill your dreams of becoming an esthetician for the state of Michigan. So now I kind of gave you an idea of what you need to pass the test. Let's get right into what you need to do. First of all, what you need to do is you have to study. I don't care how many things you have going on in your life, you have to pull apart at least 1 to 2 hours of studying. As I stated early on, I'm a mom of 3, 17, 10, and 3 years old. So you do the math. I have one that has a job and is driving, that's in high school. I have one that's in 5th grade, and I have a toddler. So homeschool, trying to help my children achieve their educational goals, and me trying to study my exam during the pandemic, it was hard. But guess what? I got through it and I passed. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to set some time aside for yourself to study. What I did to help me as well is I grabbed this book here. Let me show you. This book is my esthetician affirmation book. Every day I wrote down, I will pass my exam. I will pass my exam. Thank you in advance for passing my exam. I wrote this down every day. Got this book, wrote it down every day, did my prayer, and now we're here. So the first thing that I want you guys to know is when you put your Quizlet on, the Quizlet is so amazing. The one thing I want you to know about Quizlet, you want to make your Quizlet equivalent to the test. The exam is multiple choice only. So when you do your Quizlet exam for the state of Michigan, please go ahead and do multiple choice. If you want to kind of train your brain, you can do fill in the blank, but to start off multiple choice only because you want to mimic your studying to what the test and exam is going to look like, okay? That's clue number one. Clue number two, what you need to do is download the Esthetician Exam Center. It's $9.99 per month, but trust me, you only going to need it for 1 month, maximum 2. Because when you study the esthetician exam, it's going to mimic exactly what the exam has for the state of Michigan. I kid you not. This test is filled with so many different things. You're going to get tested on chemistry. You're going to get tested on anatomy. You're going to get tested on waxing. You need to know your nerve system. You need to know that the skin is the largest organ. These type of things are a need to know basis, and that's why it brings you back to what I said earlier. This outline is going to be your Bible. In addition to your book, this is going to be your Bible that's going to help you get through. So you need this to pass this exam. Okay? Once you do your Quizlet, you want to go ahead and you want to take your book and you want to get you a highlighter and you want to open up. I'm going to show you guys my book. This is the book that I use throughout my whole entire course. Okay? You're going to need to know your machines. You're going to need to know your machines. So let's just say, for instance, right now, today was my testing exam, right? What I did the day before my test is I studied. I wrote everything down in my notebook, and this is the notebook. I wrote everything down in my notebook. I wrote pages down. I wrote information down. And I also kept track of my score. Every time I scored on my esthetician exam center, I wrote it down because I want to keep track on where I was at. With the esthetician score, it lights up in green. So it lets you know the answer that you got right. If you answer something wrong, it'll light up in red, which is a good thing because the memory can remember colors and things of that nature. So let me walk you through the test. The day that I had my test the night before, what I did was I did my Quizlet. I did my Quizlet 2 to 3 times a day. I always made sure I had at least a 95%. I was not settling for anything. The last day that I did my Quizlet before my exam, which is that morning, I got up, I did my Quizlet, I had a 98%. That was off of 392 questions, if I'm not mistaken. The state of Michigan only requires you to do 120, I believe. I'm going to double check because they may have went down on the number. Yeah, I think it's 120 questions. So 120 questions, multiple choice. You have to know your stuff. When you get in there to take that exam, I want to let you know this. 2 of the questions are always going to look as if they're the same. So you have to really know your information. They give you almost 2 hours to do your exam. Don't go flying through the exam. Take your time. Even if you're confident, take a deep breath. Read your question, because a lot of the times the answers is in the question. So you just want to take your time and read. And if you've been doing your studying and your Quizlet, you got it. That's where I made my first mistakes. As I said in the beginning of the video, I failed. I failed miserably. I got a 56% on this one. This one, I got 59%. This is 1 year apart. This was in September 2019. This was in January 21st, 2020. So not quite a year, but you get what I'm saying. There's 2 different years. And then I passed on September the 26th, 2020, I passed. So I just want you to keep this in the forefront of your mind. Don't get nervous, but I want you to be here. I don't want you to do any of these right here. I want you to get right here, passing. So that way you can have the career of your heart. Whatever you desire to do in your esthetician career, you can get that. So, getting back to the book. The book that I used is our Esthetician Bible. As you can see, I have highlighted things that I know for sure they're going to want to know. You're going to want to know your history about esthetician. You want to know how the esthetician came about into the world. How is it utilized? You need to know all those things. Definitions are really great. That's why I said when you do your Quizlet, you can go ahead and there's a section at the bottom where you can tailor your testing to your liking. So I will always select definitions, because definitions is what's going to be in the portion of the questions. If you know your definitions, the questions you're going to answer with a breeze because you know your information, right? So let's talk about what's on the exam. So what's on the exam is 18% is sanitation, disinfection, and safety, which is so critical because right now we're in a pandemic and all of these things are being utilized every day. Washing our hands in front of our clients, using a nail brush up under the nails so our nails can be clean and free of dirt and debris. That's a part of what's going on right now. So if we've already got a handle on that, we just have to use the correct terminology. That's what they're looking for. They want to know if you know the correct terminology to get all the bases of sanitation, cleaning, getting your tools and everything like that, using barbicide. All of that stuff is a part of sanitation. So that's 18% of your test. Okay, the next portion is client consultation. It's a big deal. I'm an esthetician right now and I work in the suite. It is so critical that you ask your clients questions. You want to know what your client needs. And if you don't ask them the questions, you're not building a report, and we're really doing services and we don't even know what our client wants. That's the ultimate goal, to find out what your client needs and you to provide that service. So that's 20% of our exam. So 20% of our exam is client consultation and analysis. So you want to know about medications. You want to make sure that your clients are telling you what medication they're on, so that way we can avoid injuring the clients. You want to know about skin conditions. You want to know about skin disorders and diseases, which is very, very, very important to be an esthetician. We work with what? The skin. So you have to know that part. Also, basic facial treatments. That's 29% of your exam. This information can be found on psiexams.com, by the way. You can find all this information. And also, advanced facial treatments is 5% of the test, but don't count out these little portions of the test. They still will add up to helping you pass it. So don't just say, oh, it's 5%, I don't need to know. You do need to know. For your career-wise, you need to know. Moving right along, this is my favorite portion. Hair removal. That's what I do. I'm an esthetician. I do Brazilian waxing. This was important to me. I needed to know my spatula. I needed to know about tweezing. I needed to know about my tools. After I use my tools, I can't just put it down, pick it back up. I need to soak it so that way it can get cleaned and sanitized, so I can protect myself and my client from any type of future injuries or liabilities. You want to watch out for that as well. Next, body treatments is 3% of your exam. You need to know that. 5% of the exam is facial makeup. They're going to want to know something as simple as your color chart. Learn your color chart. I took that exam and all 3 times the color chart was on the exam. Learn it. It's 5%, but don't knock the 5% because the 5% is actually something that you need to know. And it could be, what if you get 5 questions on there? You need to know it. Licensing. They want to know if you know about your license. How often do you have to renew your license? Those are some questions that's going to be over there. Also, when you are working in a shop, should your license be up? Should your clients be able to walk in and see your license? Absolutely. That's a part of the question. You need to know that. And also about changing addresses. If you change address, you have to let them know. Absolutely. So this is 10% of your exam. So I'm just going to give it to you guys straight forth and narrow. What really helped me was taking time to study, Setting out time to remove any fear or any doubt. If you're anything like myself, I explained my story in the very beginning. I'm a single mother of 3. I worked a midnight job. I had very minimum opportunity to do anything outside of take care of my children, study, and work. So what you need to do is when you're getting yourself prepared for your state board, you need to practice. If you have classmates that you can practice with, practice. If you don't have classmates that you can create a study group with, which I highly encourage because we're all going for the same goal, get you some classmates and get you some study material, guys. Get you some flashcards. You guys can do Kahoots. Kahoots is another free app. Do Kahoots because you guys can play like a trivia game. I would highly recommend you guys using Quizlet. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. Use Quizlet, and you want to type in State Board Michigan exam. I'm the only person in Michigan that's doing a YouTube video, and this is my first time, but I needed this information because everyone from Atlanta and these other states that I was finding, they didn't help me. I mean, they helped, but our tests, we're not studying the same thing. Every state requires something different. So if you are a Michigander like myself, this video will help you in so many ways. So I already named off a couple key things that you need to do. We're going to go back and recap those things. The first thing that you need to do is you need to have your My Lady book. Get your My Lady book. This book is going to help you. It's going to go with your PSI outline. With your PSI outline, you have your book, your PSI outline, you have your Quizlet. You want to type in State of Michigan, State Board Exam Theory. It's going to bring it up. Bring it right on up. If you're in the school right now, your school should give you a login. If they don't worry about it. Just type in what I ask, what I tell you, and you should be able to find it. Also, the Esthetician Exam Center. The Esthetician Exam Center gives you an option of you want to just go ahead and purchase by chapter. I recommend doing the $9.99. $9.99 is not a lot of money considering that you're going to get your license. $9.99 is pretty small compared to the bigger price and the bigger prize, which is going to be you becoming a State of Michigan licensed esthetician. Say it with me. This is what I'm going to tell you. In addition to all these things that I've given you, you also need to have faith. You need to believe that you can pass this exam. Think about it. If you went to school full time, you sacrificed 5 months of your life. You didn't do it for just leisure time. You did it because you wanted something better out of life. For myself, I sacrificed 9 months. Some days I had to go to school 2 days out of the, twice a day. I had to go to school at a Royal Oak campus. I had to go to a Kent campus because I missed some time. And you have to have so many hours in order to be considered to take the exam. So just a little heads up, friendly heads up. If you're in school right now and you're studying to get your esthetician, you're studying your state board, you got your bag already prepped for your hands-on, your practical, now you're preparing for theory. If you have any hours, please make sure you're keeping track of your hours. If you have that time card at school, take a photo of your time card. I use selfies because my selfies were stamped with the date. So anything that is, awkward with the school record management, your time, always cover yourself. Take photos while you're in school. So this is not only about the state exam, this is also leading up to the state exam from my experiences. Always cover yourself. Take a photo. Click, I clocked in at this time on this date. You want to make sure that you have all areas covered because at the end of the day, our only goal is to get this license so we can get our career going. So I've given you everything that you need to pass. Your My Lady book, this is your esthetician Bible. You're going to need this for your whole entire career because even if you forget something while you're working on a client, you can go right in and you can look and say, oh yeah, this client has a certain type of disease. I need to be careful. You can find this right in your book. So you got your esthetician Bible. You have your PSI State of Michigan outline, which is telling you everything that you need to know. Percentage all the way down to what section. You can find these sections in your book. Get you a highlighter. You got this, okay? So then you have your Esthetician Exam Center. It is an app that looks like a paintbrush and a lipstick. It's black and white. You'll know it when you see it. I'll learn how to add it at the bottom of the content that we're doing. Quizlet. You want to be very familiar with Quizlet. And what you want to do for Quizlet is you want to get the State of Michigan theory Quizlet. You want to put it on the maximum number. You can go, it's 3 little clicks on the side. Go in, edit, change it to the maximum number, which is going to be like 396, 392, something like that. This is all to prepare you because it's only 120 questions on that test, right? You don't know which 120 questions. So why put it on 120 when you can challenge yourself? And at the same time, you can learn these things. So this is something for you. Get you a notebook. Every time you test yourself on Quizlet, on the Esthetician Exam Center, you want to write it down. So that way you can keep track of how far you become. It's going to pump you up harder and harder and harder to go further and further and further to get this much closer to your goal. Also, you want to learn the movements, okay? That was on all 3 of my tests. You want to learn the movements because they want to know if you're servicing a client and you're doing facial with the client, they want to know if you know how to take care of that client. They want to know if you know how to do the movements. They want to know all that because this is something that was taught to us in school. But guess what? This is something that I use right now with my clients. When I do facials, I use my movements. I do the back of my neck. I do the décolleté. I do my roll pat. I do all of that stuff. You have to know your movements. That's something that's very important. Also, you want to know the different type of skin types. That was very important. You want to know the color chart. You want to know the color wheel chart when it comes to makeup. If you have redness, what would you use to cancel off the redness? I believe it was green. That was the answer. You need to know all of this stuff. I'm just going through my notebook now, guys, just trying to give you guys an idea of different things I had to learn. And I would quiz myself. I had to learn about histology. I had to learn about physiology. I had to learn about the movements. We went over that. You want to know your movements because in school, that's why they have you guys on clients because they want to know that you know how to do your movements with your clients. So that's a part of the exam too you need to know. Let me see if there's anything else. I constantly wrote down anything that, and this is another thing I want to share with you guys. If you know it, don't keep going over it over and over again. If you already know the information, once you learn it and once you got it in here, go on to something else that you don't know. And then at the end of the day, everything that you learned from doing the Quizlet and the exam center, you want to go back and retest yourself. That's what I do. As I'm learning my definition, as I'm learning the things that I'm struggling with, I go back and I test myself. So I would test myself when I first wake up in the morning. I would test myself in the middle of the day, and I would test myself at the end of the night. So I gave myself 3 times just to test myself. And sometimes I would test myself if I'm out and about. I pick up my iPhone and test myself. So guys, this is just a crash course, basically me recording and giving you guys inspiration. And the last thing that I want you to do, if you have faith, I want you to write down every day, I will pass my esthetician exam. I wrote it down. I dated it. I'm going to show you guys because I believe in affirmations. You have to have a positive affirmation because you're starting a brand new life. When you get this esthetician license, you can do whatever you want in whatever field that our qualifications allows us to fall under. You want to do body waxing like myself, you can do that. If you want to do facials and massages, you can do that. If you want to do body cavitations, guess what? You can do that. You want to do makeup, you can do that. Eyebrows, eyelashes, We can do this. So whatever your heart desires, write down the plan. So when you get done taking your exam, before you take your exam, write down your plan. So that way you can speak life over to your plan. Because guys, at the end of the day, look at this, 9:20. It says, I will pass my esthetician exam. And guess what? 6 days later, guess what? I passed because I had faith in myself. So I'm telling you all these things, but also at the end of the day, right here, you have to have faith in yourself, okay? So guys, I'm done babbling. I just want to recap one last time before I let you guys go. And I thank you so much for allowing me to be the first person in Michigan to go over this information with you. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, when you book your exam, PSI is going to send you an email. The email will confirm the date that you chose to get your exam taken. They have multiple locations. Listen, if you know that you're 100% ready, whatever location they have, even if you have to drive further out, do it, because you want to go ahead and get this out of your mind, get it into the exam so you can get your license. So we have the PSI right here. It's an outline of what's on the exam. You're going to need this. This is your study Bible. This is your Bible. These two together go hand in hand. You can't do this without this. They go hand in hand. So you got this. The next thing that you're going to need is your Quizlet. You want to go ahead and type in one more time. You want to type in the State of Michigan Esthetician Theory. You may want to juggle the words around, but when it comes up State of Michigan Esthetician Theory, you've got that. Study that over and over and over and over again. If you want to challenge yourself and do the fill in the blank, that's fine. Start with definitions first. I promise you, you will thank me later. Do that. Also, download the Esthetician Exam Center. That is so critical. You want to go ahead and download that. It's $9.99 per month to get all access to 4 of the State Board tests. That would help you. Trust me. I did it. What you want to do is you want to always write your notes down. Get you a highlighter. Get you a notebook just for your esthetician exam. Okay, and the last thing you want to keep with you is your positive affirmation, guys, because without positive energy and without knowing it, claiming it, feeling it, and getting your license, you have to know it here, because once it starts here, you can have everything that you want. So I think I have covered everything. The testing site goes something like this. I went during the pandemic and prior to the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, you go in with everybody else. Please be there 30 minutes before your test exam. If you are not there on time, it is a good chance you will have to reschedule. Please don't be a rescheduler. With everything that's going on in the pandemic, they are backed up by months. So you want to get there 30 minutes early. Have your ID. They already know who you are. When they scan your ID, they've gotten everything there for you. Make sure you have your mask, okay? Make sure you have your mask. Make sure you're 30 minutes early. Make sure you put a little something on your stomach, not heavy, because you don't want to be at the computer slouched all over. I prefer to do an early morning, get up, get out of there, get into the exam center, get it over with. If you want to do afternoons, that's up to you. Me, myself, I'm an early bird. I want to get it over with. And that's about it. If you're doing a practical, they're now doing mannequins. So you may want to purchase you a mannequin so you can practice at home. You want to make sure when you're doing your practical, from my knowledge, from what I remember, you want to make sure you're always disposing of everything. Once you touch it, leave it alone. You want to pack your bag in the order that the test will be. So you want to have everything, your towels, they need to be a little wet. You need to have your sponges. You need to have all these things. Things have changed since the pandemic, guys. So I know a good friend of mine just took hers and she had to use a mannequin. There are no more bringing people in with you. So you can practice at home. If you need to, contact your school. Ask them to do a rundown with you before you go and take your exam. Never think that you're bugging them. This is your education. This is your career. So you need to go back to where you learned and have them, hey, can you guys help me? Get with your classmates, form study groups. I'm giving you everything that I know will work. I'm telling you, for the last tad bit of information, read this book. I failed this test 2 times, guys. So when I failed 2 times, what I didn't do is I did not read my book. I just was relying off of Quizlet on the, not even on 100 questions. It was 90 the night before one test and 20 days before the other one. Don't do that. I want you to set it at the maximum. I'm going to say this so many times, you're going to get tired of me saying this. Go into Quizlet, edit it, set it to the maximum number allowed so you can pass your exam. And finally, congrats on being a licensed esthetician for the state of Michigan. You made it. So I want to thank you guys. My name is Carla. Again, I am from Detroit, Michigan. I am a state licensed esthetician, and I look forward to hearing your success story. So thank you guys so much. Bye.